Hi, I have in front of me an Eclipse push button code lock, and it's designed for high traffic. Basically designed for a situation where you want to enter the code, enter, and you want two things. You want it to be friendly to use and you want it to last forever. So this is available with free delivery and it's suitable for indoor or outdoor use, okay? So I really like these. It's actually a simpler version of this that we have within our own warehouse here. It works extremely well and has done for years. This one here is a step up from that in terms of the robustness of it and the general design. So what I'm going to do in this is I'm just going to give an overview of what you get and where you'd use it, and I'm also then going to come along and I'm just going to talk about basically how you would install it. So I haven't installed this ever myself, but it's still reasonably useful to us simply because I got my locksmith actually who installed my own locks here, and he just came and gave us a quick tutorial there today. So I think I know enough to guide you reasonably accurately. Probably most guys buying this will have installed a million of them. Eclipse is a #1 brand in the marketplace, so to go with it is great. And what you get inside the kit here is pretty comprehensive in terms of screws, templates, all the rest of it here. This is going to be my door for the purpose of demonstrations, okay? So this part goes on the outside. So this is the keypad, and you're obviously going to be using this to come along and do the entry, okay? So there's a little grub screw here, and there's little indentation marks on this shaft here. So you can install it this way, or you can install it this way, right? Now depending on what way you need to install it, etc. like that, well obviously you would be installing it this way, but depending on whether you need it left or right, there's actually on the back here, you can just rotate this around and it's marked whether you intend to rotate it left or right, okay? So the reason we just have that way is for depending on just your orientation of the door. Now if we come along here, we'll say what will make this watertight steel is the fact that it can sit in here, and there's no real wrong way of mounting that because you need access in here at the back. You'll see actually there's a unique code given in the box here. So the C part isn't really part of the code. C just means clear, whatever's in the lock system already. And then in this case, it just gives the code numbers. If we actually look here, the 4 screws that give access here are marked in red. But inside here, the ones that are, somebody's actually manually used the marker marking this out. And they've just marked out the code, which is in red. And the ones that are not being used are in blue. Now if you actually want to reset this, what you have to do is you just need to take off this back here, go in and manually reset it here, and the springs behind it, things like that. So my general advice to people is if you're going with this, you have a unique code here, so come along and just go with the default code if you can just remember it sufficiently well, okay? So when you go to mount this onto your door, you have the question, do I mount it here, here, what's the best position for it? And the answer to that question is you use the template here. So all you do is you line it up, and then there's a mark along the side that will tell you the distance from the edge of the door to go, okay? So it gives a good indication, and if you're sanity checking that you're right, what you have here is the locking mechanism itself, and what you have here is you want this centered on the hole and you want that out to the edge of the timber, okay? So when you're drilling this out, I think it's a 25mm hole you'll be drilling for this here. So that's exactly what you have there, and then you have 12mm holes top and bottom drilled straight through the door. So if we're explaining that again, when we have the lock on here, the 12mm holes go straight through. That's for holding the mechanism here, and 25mm hole is in here at the side. And where we're doing it is going to be showing here. Again, when we're working on the far side, we can just put in guide holes, all the rest of it here, and we can just see exactly where we want it to be again, okay? So some more information in this, but it's really for the template that we're going to be using it, okay? So when we have this mounted on one side and we're going with the default code, the next thing is we want to lock this directly through. So what we'll do is we actually just use this bar. It'll go through the 12mm hole after drilling, and this would screw directly in here like this, okay? So we'll do this top and bottom. So that's how it will be locked into position. Now when it actually comes to working the mechanism here, what we can see is we have this mechanism here. Now depending on the thickness of the door, we could use the longer shaft or the shorter shaft like this one here, okay? And then we have spring mechanisms here as well, and that's just to hold the ratchet thing into position where we want it. So basically then, the final part of the jigsaw here is this frame here. This just goes over onto the door itself, okay? And there's a few ancillary pieces of equipment here. There's the screws here that'll be held both for holding this on and for holding this on. That's why it's a total of 4 screws. And then the actual bolts that go directly through the door is what holds it overall in position. So this is a little bit more expensive, or actually considerably more expensive than the lighter version we have. So it all depends. I would say if it's something like where we're using it, our lighter one in the offices, and it says low traffic, we're still using that door in terms of code probably 50 times a day, and it still works away fine. Well, maybe exaggeration to 50, maybe 30 or 40 times a day. So, and it's worked fine for years and years. But if you want to have that type of traffic or slightly larger, and you just want to have a handle maybe that's a bit larger and easier to grip, something like this is probably worth a go. And the fact that it's a larger, heavier build probably means it is more robust. But we just stock the boat inside it, and we have several other things in terms of door control, and we actually have kits there as well. But I do like this product here. I think it's quite nice. They have little tools here when it comes to tightening in these nuts. You can use that there, so it just makes the whole thing quite easier. And there's a few things like this tweezers here. That's really only if you're adjusting the locking mechanism here. By the way, on these things here, you can see I have depressed a few buttons here, and I want to clear it. I just hit the C button, it clears all those ones. That's it. So that's it anyway, an overview of the Eclipse push button code lock, and it's designed for high traffic situations, and it's available with free delivery directly from freetv.ie.